Okay. All right. We are live. How's it going, Jovani?
It's going well, going well. How are you?
Good. I
Awesome,
figured we'd
awesome.
start off with a little music.
Okay.
Thursday, almost Friday.
Like a happy hour, right?
So, yeah.
Well, wrapping up happy hour, I guess.
Right,
Is
right.
there?
All right. So, my name is Kyna, and welcome to Thursday 30 at 8:30. So, this is going to happen every Thursday at 8:30. I will get to know interesting people and find out why they are Republican. So, if you got the invite for tonight, basically the slogan on the invite was, "Why are you Republican?" And that's what this is going to pretty much be about. It's a casual conversation with people in and around Baltimore who have conservative beliefs and support the Republican Party. And I guess I should ask people to remove the kids from the room because we're saying Republican, and that's like such an evil word
Yeah,
nowadays. If you
yeah,
listen to mainstream media,
yep,
Republicans.
yeah.
So,
It's like
but yeah, go ahead.
it's us. It's like the boogeyman.
Right, right, yeah. So, but we are here, and we're going to talk about Republican and conservatism, and so first, I want to introduce my first guest for tonight, Jovani Patterson. Hey, Jovani, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
Awesome, awesome.
All right, so first, tell us a little bit about you. I know you, somewhat. Yeah, I know you, but can you introduce yourself and tell us about you? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. Um, so again, my name is Giovanni. I grew up in. Well, I was born right here in Baltimore. I grew up in South Carolina and then came back to Maryland and back to Baltimore, uh, for school. I'm currently married and have two kids, an 8-year old and a 2-year old. Professionally, I work as a cybersecurity engineer. And last week, I actually became the GOP nominee for City Council President of Baltimore City. So we're excited about that. So I guess that's me in a nutshell for high level overview.
Okay, all right. And speaking of that, we are live from the Baltimore City GOP Facebook page. And I didn't get a chance to introduce myself. Again, my name is Kyna, and I am a Baltimore City Republican Central Committee member. So want to get that out there. Um, and so to get back with you, Jovani, so you started out in what you said, South Carolina, was it?
Well, yeah. So I was born in Baltimore. My mom,
Okay.
my parents are, from here.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I was raised in South Carolina. So from age 3 to 18, 3 to 18, I was in South Carolina.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
And then you came to school here for here, right?
Yeah. So
Okay. What
I
school did
was,
you go to?
I went to Capital College in Laurel,
Mhm.
Maryland.
Oh,
Um,
okay,
yeah.
okay.
So it's an engineering school.
Mm-hmm.
I ended up not graduating because I made Dean's List my last semester and figured I had learned enough.
Oh,
So,
oh. Okay.
so I really had just started working, entered the workforce at
Mm-hmm.
that point, and just started working and building and just took it from there.
Okay, okay. All right. And so, and then you're married currently, correct? With how many children did you say?
Two kids, two,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
8-year old and a 2-year old. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Well, that's a little bit about yourself. So first, we're going to start off with just like a fun game. I figured it's kind of a fun word game. Basically, it's a game called This or That.
Okay.
So what I'll do is a kind of a get to know you game also, but kind of fun. So what I'll do is first I'm going to present you with two different choices, and you pick the option that resonates with you most.
Oh,
Have you heard of this? Have you played this or that?
Hopefully you don't trick me on this one.
No, it's fine. It's fun. It's all fun.
Trick me.
Yeah. So basically, it's kind of going on a speed round thing. So,
okay.
I'm going to ask you questions, and then you answer you pick the choice that first, pops in your mind that you feel like you most resonate with.
Okay.
All right. So I'll give you an example. So I'll say ketchup or mustard.
And I'll say ketchup.
Okay. Okay. See, so that's what you're a ketchup guy. Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's get going. So let's see here. Chris Rock or Dave Chappelle?
Chappelle.
Body wash or a bar of soap?
Body wash.
Death penalty or life in prison?
Huh.
Come on, get it.
That's tough. I guess it depends, but I'm leaning towards life right now.
Okay. Hip hop or club music?
Hip hop.
All right. West side or east side?
Huh. No, west.
Okay. Stay home or open Maryland?
Open.
Okay.
Open Maryland. Yeah, let's go.
Frederick Douglass or Harriet Tubman?
Frederick. I think somebody would penalize me if I said anything else. So Frederick Douglass.
Okay. Sweet potato pie or pumpkin pie?
Sweet potato.
Okay.
That's a no-brainer.
Big party or small gathering?
Small gatherings usually.
Okay.
Small gatherings, yeah.
Good times or Jefferson's?
Good times.
Okay. Hamburger or hot dog?
Hamburger.
MLK or Malcolm X?
MLK.
Okay. See, that was not bad, right?
Yeah, that wasn't too bad. That one was tough, a doozy though.
I know, yeah. That's kind of yeah.
That was a tough one.
Yeah,
that's a tough one.
All right, well, let's get into it. So pretty much the reason for our talk tonight is we want to know, why are you a Republican? And I'll just put it out there as far as you hear stereotypes because you're a Black man, you live in the city, and so it kind of goes against the grain or what we're told should be your political affiliation.
Right.
And so just want to first start off, if you could talk to us about what brought you to the Republican Party. Did you grow up as a Republican? What brought you to the Republican Party? And then, why do you feel that support for the Republican Party and conservative values is the best for you and your community and family?
Okay. So no, I wasn't always a Republican. I think I grew up conservative. I mean, grew up with, mom and dad, and, I had 3 siblings, so I was the oldest of 4. But we had that family structure. We weren't rich by any stretch of the imagination. I got my first job when I was 13 or 14, something like that. So, just always, I've always been about, just working hard, and that's what was instilled in me. My parents never really talked much about politics. However, what they did say, when I asked my mom, what's the difference between a Democrat and a Republican? I think that was around the same time I was having the same conversation with her about life insurance. But Democrat and Republican, she just said, Democrats generally tend to be more for the Black people, and Republicans, are for the rich. And, my thinking then was, well, I'm Black and I'm not rich. So, I'm just going to, vote Democrat. And I never looked at it at, policy or, economics or anything like that. So I think Al Gore was the first person I voted for.
Okay.
Followed by Barack Obama twice. So I voted for him twice.
Mm-hmm.
But then, I guess as 2015 to 2016 hit, I think that's when I really started kind of paying attention. And we all know what happened in 2016 as far as, elections. But I just started, paying attention and opening my eyes and started examining some things that I actually believe. And I think when you start looking more inward to, to understand how you think about something versus leaning on the understanding of others, it reveals a lot about yourself and kind of your belief system. So then I just started looking at it. Then I got married, and I was like, wow, what the Republican platform stands for is more in line of, of the values that I hold, and that the values that were really instilled in me. Just the building of the family, the ability to succeed in America. So, having a job, and more your income going towards you and your family, because there's a belief that you can do better for yourself than any central planner or one government could. Those ideas started resonating with me. And then, I started really digging deeper into, other things, because I can go a whole, probably a whole day on how, ideas of socialism, Marxism, and communism have really infiltrated, both sides of both parties, really, but, the Democrat Party more openly. I really started identifying more or less with the values, not necessarily the party, but I knew what the party was supposed to stand for. And I started more aligning myself with the values. So I can't say I'm in lockstep with the Republican Party. I am, however, in lockstep with the values that the party platform that it claims to hold. Not that it all the time showcases right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now let me back you up a little bit. As far, you said, so you're kind of awakening, I could say, or when you first started looking at the Republican Party and Republican ideas was kind of in 2015, 2016. So do you recall, like, Oprah's like the aha moment, or like the time where you were like, wait a minute, I need to kind of check into that, or look into that a little deeper, because that's not what I'm usually, I was Democrat, that's not what I usually, remember doing, or this seems something I can check into.
Yeah, so it did start in 2015. I remember I was at a Washington Redskins football game. And I was sitting in the box seat because I got invited by, I'm actually, very fortunate, to have some of the relationships that I have. So there was a business owner, he invited me. Well, I kind of invited myself, but but he said okay. Him and his friend, and I went with him and his friend to a Redskins football game. We were sitting in the booth. So this guy from Florida, a Cuban guy, we were sitting down. It was halftime, and I remember him just talking about, he said just straight up to me, he said, "You're not one of those ones that voted for Obama because he's black, did you?" I was like, "Yeah, I voted for him because he was black."
So, yeah, that's like everybody.
So then and I didn't take offense to it, because I do appreciate when someone's honest, and I appreciate someone when someone challenges, my ideas and where I am. And he said it in just a very, he said it in a direct way, which I appreciate. And that's the point where I started thinking, like, why did I vote for Obama, other than the fact that he was black? And that was really it. So I didn't have anything else to say, which kind of, made me, I guess, uncomfortable at that point. So that's when I really started, looking I won't say I started looking then, but that's what planted a seed for me to start looking and investigating.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's similar to a lot of people have a similar story as far as people who grew up or who were Democrat, and then you start to really research stuff.
Yep.
And like when you get that seed planted and you start to look and research things, that's when it's like, well, wait a minute, I thought it was this, this, and this.
Yeah,
that's not correct. And I had a similar situation. Again, sometime around 2015. And I'll give you a little bit of my background. I'm a poli-sci major, so I've always considered myself very knowledgeable about politics. Grew up Democrat. I remember being in high school and college, arguing with people about Democrat policy, arguing with Republicans about Democrat policy. I've assisted on campaigns.
Oh, wow.
I was so big that I remember I started a petition to get Fox News pulled out of hospitals because I was like, Fox News is biased, they're racist, I want them out of here. So I go to doctor's offices and stuff, and I'm like, why do you have this station on? And you need to change the station. And I bring them a list of names, and I thought all of these people were racist. Wow. And then I was sitting at home, and I saw I was flipping through TV, and I saw Glenn Beck on TV, and he was doing a program about how Black historians were not given full credit in textbooks, and they should be included more in public school systems. And he was just going through all these things, like unknown facts about Black history. Mm-hmm. And so I'm looking, and I'm like, Glenn Beck? I was like, isn't he racist? I was like, what's he doing talking about Black history, Yep. And so I said, okay. So when I saw that, that's when I started looking at, I researched Glenn Beck. And I'll never forget that I said, well, let me listen to his XM, because I had XM in the car. So on my way to work, I would listen to XM. And so he was on like the Patriot channels. I didn't even look. I was like, Patriot channel. What's that? It's KKK stuff, But anyway, so I listened to it. And I said, and he was like, he started talking about all this stuff. He was Christian. He was talking about, Christian values and conservative values. And he started and I'm not talking about superficial level. I'm talking about he would give facts and data, and he'd have people on the show, and he'd break out this blackboard, and he'd start talking right on the chalkboard. And what he said made sense. And like you said, it was about family and about just supporting family in the Black community. He was talking about, different things in the Black community. It wasn't anything racist. I mean, he was just, for lack of a better word, spinning facts, you know? So, and then that's when it kind of opened me up to different conservative talk radio, and I started researching on my own. And so I think a lot of people have, that similar situation or similar story, or how they found conservative.
Yeah, I mean, I think at the core of us, I mean, most of us are conservative, especially Black people, because each other was all we had at one point in time. So the family was the core of what it meant to be, Black in America, because where else were you going to go? I mean, and to see that destroyed nowadays is really kind of also what brought me back, because I see how the left and the Democrats really don't care about families in the sense of the nuclear unit. They've redefined family. So when if this is a soundbite, they say the Democrats don't care about families. The definition of family is different, but the nuclear family is what succeeds in America, and what creates positive and strong communities. And the Republican or conservative values are really what supports that. And, just going through and actually looking inside and understanding that, that's really what really got me back to it.
Okay. And then as far as like today, as far as, you and your family and your community, can you speak or give like a little some specifics on how conservatism and the Republican Party speak to your family or your community? Do you have anything like specific you can say?
Well, I mean, if we look at things economically, one thing, generally conservatives or Republicans believe that individuals can do better with their own money than some, centralized genius, quote unquote genius, downtown or in the city halls or in the federal government. So when we look at stuff like the tax rate and especially the property tax rate, that's something that really hurts families in Baltimore, from home ownership and business ownership. Higher tax rates really don't support families at all, because it just decreases the ownership and decreases your ability to do business.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. And something you mentioned earlier about the family, I look at and how the Democrats want to redefine the family. Family is really your first form of structure, first, like a little government, first form of structure and organization. And as that deteriorates, I can see how, our community is deteriorating because we don't have any type of structure. And then you lose, kids don't see people, adults as a figure of authority. And so it kind of just starts to break down, the whole community when you don't have a strong family structure.
Yeah, you're right about that. I mean, like you said, the first rule of law and order and respect really starts in the home. Especially with fatherhood. And we have in Baltimore an out of wedlock birth rate of 70%. So it's that order and that structure oftentimes isn't there. And what we see is, an overreaction in the streets. So, generally, hotheads don't know how to act in the streets. So things go south a little bit quicker. Or, when there are interactions with, authorities, I know police are a touchy subject right now, but instead of, there's a level of respect given to authority at that moment. It's automatic anger when you're, when you see that authority figure. I got pulled over by the police today. Wait
a minute.
I got pulled over today. Yeah.
And you still here?
I'm here.
Hold your shirt up. Let's see if you got any. Let me see some holes. You got a bullet hole?
No bullet holes. Yeah, I mean, I made it through it, and the officer was nice. I mean, I haven't went to MVA to get the not MVA but Walmart to get the screw in my front tag. So I was missing my front plate. So she pulled me over for that, and she was nice. She, there was no, attitude. I reached over to my glove box and there was no hesitation or anything. So it's not that every interaction with the police is a negative interaction. But there's just a level of expectation, or when you know to just respect one another. That's something that you learn in the home, and that can translate just to the real world. And to this idea of that's going around right now of defunding the police, we're getting rid of law and order in the streets. But it's easy to have that kind of mentality when there's no law and order at home. So now we're just creating a situation of just all around lawlessness. which, really isn't good for, the elderly, those that can't take care of themselves. It's not good for the taxpayer that's actually putting into the system, that is supposed to, that they're supposed to benefit from public services such as the police and roads and other things like that. So it's just it's a call from the mountaintops of some angry people, to do something that, mirrors life, because life as they know it, because, that structure hasn't been there from growing up.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you look at when you go to a intersection and a traffic light is out. Now, could be an intersection that you drive every day, several times a day. But once that traffic light is out, it goes crazy. I mean, people don't know what to do. They're almost hitting pedestrians.
Yeah.
Just from a little light. From a little light. So
amazing.
It goes to show you we need some type of structure and law and order.
Right. Yeah.
And it makes me think about, and I feel like the communities that are going to be hit the most if we do this defund, to somehow defund the police departments are poor communities. Because I know, just like when you go to, Canton or Federal Hill, crime has increased in these areas. And, people were saying it was a lack of, police, and they're, afraid because of after what happened after Freddie Gray. Police are afraid to, kind of police. And so what did they do, those communities? They went and hired a private police force.
Yep.
So, now they can do that because they have the money to do that. But what about communities that don't have that? So then you run into the situation where if we're defunding the police and these police aren't coming out, when you call, who's calling? No one will come.
Nobody's coming.
And so again, it has a very terrible effect on low income communities.
Yeah. And you mentioned one of the shows during the speed round, which is Good Times. And they were a poor family living in the projects, but dad was home, mom was home. They were a family, and there was this level of respect that, like, even in some of the episodes where someone outside did do something wrong to JJ or anyone else on the show, the father stepped in and said, "This is not how we react." Right. This is not how we overreact to negative situations. You always have to understand that, yes, something negative happened, but how you respond, matters as well. And it's the nuclear family, and having that structure at home is really what, teaches that and instills that. And when we're now that we're lacking that so much, and it's not just a black thing, it's a black thing, a white thing, Hispanic thing, like all of our communities are starting to suffer from this. But just the lack and the tear down of the family, and just going away from really traditional conservative values, which are innate really in us, that has led to in simple terms, a moral decline.
Yeah. Well, I mean, studies show, they said, and this is for speaking to African American families, that when the number one predictor in success for a child is being raised in a 2-parent household. You pulling in 2 incomes, even so much as children get a much more, they develop a larger vocabulary because they have 2 parents in the household, so they're constantly speaking with them, and that is one of the number one predictors of success of children is if they start out in a 2-parent household. And it goes up if the child is born after the marriage. It says statistics show that they have a better rate of success.
And that's a message I think conservatives do need to relay a little bit better now. I think the challenge with, conservatives in the Republican Party is that in a place like Baltimore and maybe other metro areas, is that, the party's kind of given up. It's kind of like, hey, this is a lost cause, or we'll never win here. But I think, we live in a republic, so our ideas still matter. And I think now more than ever, people are seeing how fringe things are getting. So just going back to, conservative ideas really, really does have a positive impact on our communities.
Yeah. All right. Well, and on that note, I mean, that's why we're doing this. I'm a member of the Baltimore City Central Committee, and so are you.
Yep.
And so we are here to be a voice in Baltimore for conservatives and for the Republican Party, to say, we're here and we hear you and we are fighting for you. And just like you said earlier, we're fighting for families. That's what we're all about. And anyone who has questions about that, I challenge you to go to the national party platforms and read them. It's very eye-opening, especially when you read the Democratic platform. Every party has a platform or a mission statement about what their core values are and what they believe in. And I recently did it. And the Democratic platform is not what I thought it would be. So I challenge people to do that, to go to that platform and to the Republican platform and read it and see how it aligns with your beliefs and how those values will help your family or help you as an individual or your community. So, we are going to wrap it up with that. This is Thursday 30 at 8:30. So every Thursday for 30 minutes, I will chat with different people and just want to know why you are Republican. We want to talk to different people and hear, just about them, and then also why they support the Republican Party. So thank you, Jovani, for being the first guest.
Thank you.
And one thing I did want to say before I let you go is body wash.
Yeah. The Dove men.
Okay. Oh, you said Dove, so not even what's that one with the guy on the pony?
Old Spice.
Old Spice, yeah, Old Spice. You could at least said Old Spice body wash. You talking about Dove Spice?
No, the Dove men. They got the men one. It's in the gray bottle. It's good.
Oh, okay. That's fine. I'm just joking. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Well, again, thank you for taking the time to speak with me and. Baltimore City GOP Facebook. We will answer those questions next Thursday at 8:30. Also, you can find us at the Baltimore City webpage. That is www